Welcome back, everyone. We're so excited to have you with us today. And I'm Amy Rost, and I'm here with Bonny-Lynn Russell. And today we are talking all things confidence.
Oh, I'm so excited to hash this out with you today, Amy.
I think it's an important topic.
For sure. And, to our listeners, those of you that have been following us along, as you know, we've been, we've launched University of Pilates, and we've been doing these calls with prospective students. And it's been really interesting. And I want to say it's been more than 3, 4, 5 times this idea of confidence, or say lack of confidence, has been a reoccurring theme. So I'm excited to talk about this with you today.
Yeah. And I think it's not only been a theme that we hear in these conversations we're having about school and teacher training. I think it's also, I'm seeing it in my own studio, just confidence as we come out of this time we've been through. We've been changed forever, and I think our confidence has been maybe affected just a little bit.
That's a good point, actually. So yeah, it might be not just related to Pilates, but just to people in general. We've been a little bit more isolated and haven't, maybe this brings us up to our first sort of like, I kind of think a cool point is that I think confidence really needs to be grown and fostered and developed. And there's so many ways that happens, through overcoming challenges, to taking yourself out of your comfort zone, to really, putting yourself into new scenarios, which, let's face it, a lot of us haven't had that opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And I always like to think of confidence, it's like building a muscle. Just like we build the core, it's like at the core of us, so Pilates related there, but it's at the core of us is building that confidence from within. And I think through our training program, this has been something that's been really important to us. And I think even now further into this journey, even more so, because we want anyone who experiences actually Pilates in any way, whether you're a teacher, you're a client, you're, thinking about it, is that your experience with Pilates is that it helps to nurture and grow the confidence within you.
Yes. And that you can apply it to everything else you do in your life. Like, I 100% can be a testament to that as well, for sure.
Right. And so let's share a little bit about what we're hearing when we've been having these calls and just conversations, really like off camera with students, and what are you hearing?
Well, what I'm hearing from multiple sources, and if you're listening, thank you. It's a great question. Please don't feel singled out by that. But I'm hearing people are saying, I love Pilates. I love how I feel. I want to learn more. I want to be a sponge. I want to do the training program and do that. But I actually don't even know if I want to teach. And I'm like, well, really? Like, why is that? And just as a curiosity. And then here it comes. I can see the body language change, the quiver in the voice. There's this limiting belief that, oh, I'm not good enough. It's like, I wouldn't have anything to share. I can't be a teacher. Who am I, like, to share this? And I'm like, oh. So what are your thoughts, or what are something you would say to someone who's having those thoughts, Amy?
Well, I think, first of all, I think to acknowledge, I think we've all had that thought at some point, whether we were doing an exercise or teaching, it's a journey. And as educators, what I am so passionate about is that we really want every individual who comes through this program to know that we are here to support and encourage and build that confidence through knowledge and skill. Mm-hmm. It doesn't happen on day one, but it happens a little bit at a time. And I think the true confidence comes from each of us brings such a unique lens to teacher training, to Pilates, that when we get to share that with others, that's where they see your confidence. Your confidence is in who you are and the journey you've been on to this moment. And we're just going to guide you through a lot of information to gain the skills and the knowledge to then be able to share that with those around you. So I think sometimes we think we're going to leave with all of this, like we've got it all or we know it all. I think remember, it's only the beginning. It really is only the beginning. The learning is never done.
Absolutely. And, and if I can just throw out, and I don't mean this to be a negative point, but hopefully it just takes some of the pressure off, is sometimes when people come in, they expect that right out of the gate, their first practice teaching hour, they're going to sound and act and see movement the way someone who has decades of experience. And can I let you in on a secret? You're not going to have that skill. In fact, you're probably not going to be very skilled at all. And that's okay.
And
right?
I'll just share, so I remember my very first, teaching a client, and I had my cue cards, for those of you who are old enough to know what those are. And I literally had to read off all of the steps. How to set up all of the steps of rolling like a ball on my living room floor without a mat. That's where I started.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, I cued the breath wrong, or I cued this wrong. And it was over time, it really, as you understand the knowledge and you see the depth of the work and the intricacies in each exercise that come from another exercise, the knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's practice,
Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh.
Even just the speaking, especially with the apparatus work that, we got to learn the setup, the springs, the breath, the prescribed reps, all these things. There's a lot of knowledge. So even just to say all that, there's a lot of prep work that goes in. But that it just comes with practice and time. So for those people that are considering, I think that you're not alone. Even the most experienced teachers have that little bit of doubt that creeps in. But you're absolutely right, Amy. It just comes from practice, and the more knowledge you gain, the more confident you're going to start to feel. But one thing you brought up a point that I think is worth going deeper on is this idea that I think sometimes people think as teachers, you have to feel like you're an expert in something. And I know that that's not necessarily true, right? It's just, you're just a little further on the path. So can you go on deeper on that, Amy?
Well, I think we're all experts in our unique way, as we've all had our body has had a story that got us to this point. So no two journeys are the same. And that's kind of the really cool thing. And I think in being the expert is, I don't have to know all the answers.
Yes.
I just need to ask the question.
Yes.
And be willing to ask the question. And there's no bad question. There's no bad question. Is asking to understand, and just that curiosity piece. Like, if you're curious about why something is the way it is, staying curious and going down that path to be like, okay, let's try this. Can we facilitate change? Can we strengthen in a new way? Can we ask for something different? What happens? And I think our confidence builds as we start to see, actually, as a Pilates teacher, we do have the ability to facilitate change very quickly. And that is a very cool thing. That is a blessing in my everyday life, is that, oh my gosh, I just made somebody's day better because they now can stand up straight. Those things, right? Whatever they are. So I think remembering, remember, it's building the muscle of confidence. And I think the other really important thing is, you can have all the education, you can have all the pieces and all the things, but if you really haven't been encouraged and felt supported in your journey, it's really hard to find that confidence. And we're pretty passionate about creating confident teachers because we know everyone has so much to share and will make a difference in this world with teaching this method.
Mhm. Absolutely. And, another way, if sometimes if teaching, even just the word teaching kind of gives you a little like, oh, like I put my school teacher on a pedestal or whatever. I don't know if I could ever do that. Maybe we need to switch the narrative that I did this myself when I was early in my teaching career. It was like, well, I don't know if I consider myself a teacher, but I'm a pretty good helper. I'm a good helper. I was always good at helping people and helping people, whether it's helping with my mom with chores or it was helping, because we feel good. We feel good when we help people. And as a teacher, like you mentioned, we're holding space, we're bearing witness. We can ask questions. We don't have to have all the answers, but we can help this person feel something, discover something, move in a new way, breathe deeply, create a new aha or epiphany, or maybe how their body works. And that is so satisfying and exciting. But it doesn't have to feel like, oh, I'm this like, I don't know what the equivalent would be, like this martial art master or something that I have to
Right.
kneel before. It's like, no, I'm a helper here to help guide this person to discover something great. And I think as Pilates teachers, we get to do that on an hourly basis. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And we are instilling confidence in our clients that as
Yes.
movers and as just being aware of their space and in their body. And that's another layer and a piece of it that's so, so important. I also think just a little to like thinking of like, you don't want to think, oh, I'm a teacher, or you think, oh, someone's been teaching a long time, they know so much more. Well, we might be further down the journey and down the path, but I also think I know I learn from every client and every student I work with.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, that's such an interesting way to look at it. And I think when we come in with that, with that just eagerness to learn and what can I learn from someone, it really removes that hierarchy of power, so to speak.
Yeah, there is no expert or student or teacher and student. It's just, yeah,
Yeah, and
I
I think
agree.
that, and I've been doing some other study stuff and I've been diving deep actually into this confidence thing. And I'm like, when do we lose the confidence? We never came out of the womb thinking, I am never going to lift my head, or I'll never be able to crawl or walk or run or jump. And I think, sometimes just to go inside and remember, you know what? You have everything you need to be a wonderful teacher right now. And really it would be just saying yes to that's my passion and that's what I want to do. We can share the knowledge and the skill to give you those tools to facilitate great movement in the classical method, but you already have everything you need inside you. And I think we forget about that sometimes. So
Drop the mic, Amy. I'm going to repeat what you just said. You already have everything that you need inside of you right now to be a great teacher. Ah,
and
love it.
we at University of Pilates we believe in all of you to be. The world needs you. The world needs your magic and your confidence to make the world a better place.
I think that's great. I think that's a great place. I mean, we could go on and talk about this for hours, but let's for all those that are maybe feeling, oh, I would love to do a teacher training program, but I don't have the confidence or think that I want to teach. I hope what we spoke about today maybe resonated with you. Or let us know. Let us know in the comments or reach out to us. We're happy to keep this conversation going. But with that being said, Amy, do you have anything else you want to add, or you just want to repeat that one more time? That was such a beautiful thing.
Oh, I just want everyone to remember, even if you just for like a moment close your eyes, take that big breath in and say, you know what? I have everything I need today to be that teacher should I choose to take that calling.